guys, my name is Escarla. Welcome back to my channel. This is my little crafty corner of the universe where I like to document my making. Mostly that revolves around knitting, spinning, crocheting, pretty much fiber related content. So if you are new here and you're into that, please subscribe to the channel. This video will be following my process from start to finish of Clue 2 of Stephen West's Mystery Knit-Along shawl for 2024 called Go Dynamo. If you're just stumbling across this video, I highly recommend starting at the start of my process here. So I'll link the playlist down below where you can watch the intro video and Clue 1. If you're currently knitting the Go Dynamo, you already know it was a lot of knitting this week. I'm just glad that I was able to finish on time. So without further ado, I'll pass you on over to Past Escarla on Clue release day. Hey guys, it is day 1 of Clue 2's release, and it's actually really late at night. It's almost Friday. It's 11 p.m. and I've just been super busy today. I've been editing pretty much the entire day to release Clue 1's video. That was a lot of work. So the biggest goal of mine for this Clue 2 is to get the knitting done hopefully by Sunday night. That is the goal. I don't know if it's achievable. I think it might be, but I have to see what Clue 2 is all about. I've been very good today and I haven't seen the video. I haven't downloaded the pattern update. So I'm completely in the dark regarding Clue 2. So we're gonna watch the video, hear what Stephen has to say about it, and then I'll update my pattern and hopefully get to knitting. I don't think I'll get a lot of knitting done tonight just because it's pretty late already, but we'll see what our first impressions are. All right, here we go. Eek!
Clue 2 is here. We're gonna have 2 options for Clue 2, and this is the moment to incorporate your mohair dare. This week's instructions include a brioche option for you brioche knitters. You can learn how to knit brioche with these video tutorials, or you can do an easy eyelets option and skip ahead in the pattern to knit some eyelets instead of brioche. If you're following this video, make sure you have your pattern printed out or in another window on your screen.
Okay, brioche. I've never done brioche in my entire life, so I am a little bit nervous about doing it. But I think, you know, in the spirit of the mystery knit-along, in the spirit of learning new things, I'm probably gonna do the brioche. I've done plenty of eyelets and shawls. I don't want to do something I've already done. You know, we got to do something new. So let's see what else he has to say. But so far, brioche it is, and I'm very excited because my mohair is really cool, which I'll show you later. But okay, let's get back to it.
And follow along with the written instructions as you watch this video. And if you're doing the brioche option and you want to do a mohair dare, the mohair dare is going to be your contrast color.
Okay, so I just saw that little intro portion. I haven't gone any further into the video. I still have to download the pattern, but I'm really excited because my main color is this darker plummy color, which you've already seen me working with, but my mohair dare is this really beautiful speckled baby suri alpaca and silk. It is a hand-dyed yarn that I got on Etsy from the seller Inspire a Mind. I think they also have a website, so I'll link that all down below. I thought the price was really affordable compared to like kind of mainstream mohairs that I found online, and I picked this color because it went really well with my 2 colors. So as you can see, it's like perfect. It's like they're made to be together. I chose heathered yarns this year, and it's really beautiful because it has different kind of colors happening within the one shade, and that's why I wanted to do something that was a little hand-dyed and kind of honored that same kind of look. So I'm very excited to see how this would look together. Now, like I mentioned, I've never done brioche before in my entire life, so this will be very new to me. So I hope that I am able to get it done early enough. So I'm very eager to learn something new. Something that really attracted me to Stephen West's Mystery Knit-alongs are the fact that you get to learn so many new techniques and different things that you might have not come across before in your knitting journey. So brioche is one thing that of course I've heard of, but I've always kind of avoided. I know Andrea Mowry has several brioche patterns that are really popular. And I think I even own one of her patterns that's brioche that I was going to do as a first time briocher. But this shawl will be my first ever exploration of brioche. So I am going to download the pattern and get started with knitting. I'm probably going to watch the video and see the brioche in action before I actually take it on myself. I don't want to like mess anything up early on. It's 350 stitches or 355, something like that, stitches. So if I make a mistake, that's a little bit scary. But I think I'm just gonna go for it. I trust myself, I trust Steven. Let's see how this all works out. Here is a close-up of my main color and the suri alpaca. I can't wait to see how this looks together. I feel like it's gonna look really, really cool. All right, so I've downloaded the pattern here. If you guys are curious, I actually use this app called GoodNotes to add my PDF files into, and that way I can write on them, I can make notes. The only exception to that is if I'm working off of a chart or doing color work. I do like to print that out because I like to use like a highlighter tape to mark what row I'm at. So I've got the pattern here, Clue 2. So yeah, since I'm doing brioche, I am seeing some abbreviations that I'm not used to. So there's the BRK, which is the brioche knit, and the brioche purl, and then there's the brioche knit, yarn over brioche knit. So we will learn how to do that. Ooh, so now we're gonna get stripes going in the other direction. This is gonna be a really beautiful shawl. I am very pleased. But yeah, let me get started. I'm just gonna watch the video and watch him do some brioching and kind of get my brain used to how to do that before I full on start doing it, because I'm working with mohair. I'm sure that's not gonna be really fun to frog if I mess anything up. So yeah, let's go for it.
For the brioche version, this is row 1, right side, using main color. If you've never done brioche before, then I recommend practicing brioche ribbing on a swatch first, because we have a lot of stitches. So if it's your first time, then try brioche knitting a little swatch.
It is quite late. It's like 2 in the morning already. I should really be asleep, but I really wanted to take a stab at the brioching, and I did start on the shawl. So I knit the first row, which was just kind of a foundation row, all knit with the main color. So that was super easy. And then I was pretty much fixed on using one strand of mohair as the contrast color, which I think I mentioned that already. If not, that was my plan. So I started working on it, and then I kind of had a thought in the back of my head that maybe it wouldn't make the fabric as cushy because I'm just using one strand, so it's going to be quite thin for that other side. I looked at what Steven was doing. He was using 2 strands of mohair held together. I only have the one ball, so I wouldn't have enough mohair to incorporate into another section if I do hold it double. So long story short, which I guess I already told you the long story, but I have decided to knit it held together with my contrast color. So I decided to knit a swatch just to be super sure that I was happy with that decision. And so I knit half of the swatch with the one strand of mohair, and then the second half of the swatch I knit it held together with the contrasting color. And ultimately, it being held together with the contrasting color looked best. If I had another ball of this mohair, I would have held it together with 2 strands to have like a cushier fabric. So I definitely want that plump, detailed look. So ultimately, I think that is the best decision, even though I feel like the color doesn't pop as much than when it was held single. you know, everything's a give or take, so I think that's the best decision. After the swatch, I feel like I get the gist of what brioche is like. I did make a mistake on the swatch, but again, it is 2 in the morning. I'm pretty tired and I wasn't fully paying attention. I really just wanted to see how the colors played together. So I think I'll be okay to work on the full shawl. It is Friday, it's around like 1:30, and I have plans for today. So I just wound up some yarn, so I'm good and ready for the brioche section. But I think I'm going to weave in my ends before I start that section because I'm going to be juggling 3 different yarns and I know it's going to get tangled. It's bound to get messy, so I think it'll just be easier to have my ends woven in. It'll feel nice and clean, and then we can start on the brioche. So I'll just document the day as it goes. I am hoping to really focus on the brioche section as to not make any mistakes because I probably won't know how to fix them. I'm sure there's videos on how to correct your brioche mistakes, but I think that's my biggest fear with doing this is messing up and then not being able to make it look good. So I'm gonna really focus. I feel like I got the gist of what brioching is like through my swatch, and I also watched Stephen West's brioche video on his page a couple of times to kind of like sink it all in. So hoping all goes well, but let's see how the day goes. Hey guys, it's Sunday. It's been a few days now since Clue release day. Now I did finish the first brioche section and I'm really happy with how it looks. I was a little nervous at first. I think I already mentioned this, but I was nervous at first with how the mohair was gonna look, but I think it looks really good. So today I am going to be knitting the bubble section and hoping to get that all finished today. I have read the rest of the pattern, and essentially what we're doing is a brioche section and then a bubble section and then a brioche section and then a bubble section. And the brioche section did take quite a while. I ended up timing it and it took me like 16 minutes to knit 1 row. That means that doing 1 row of both colors takes more than 30 minutes. So another challenging knitting week. I was a little bit fooled thinking that because it's less pages of pattern in the written pattern that it wouldn't be as much knitting, but it's still a lot of knitting. Oh, and I did want to mention, because in the last video I made, I talked about getting some show recommendations, which none of you guys gave me any recommendations, okay? I'm kind of mad at that. Let me know what you guys are watching down below. I am always looking for new things to watch, especially with the amount of knitting that I have to get done on this shawl. But I started watching The Penguin? I think it's called The Penguin. It's on HBO Max. It's kind of, not a spin-off, but part of the DC universe, and I really, really am enjoying it so far. There's only 3 episodes. I kind of appreciate that HBO drops a new video a week, kind of keeping up with like how cable used to be. I like that. I feel like we're too accustomed to just getting all of the episodes served on a platter and ready for you to binge. You absorb a lot less of the show when you're binge watching. But yeah, so I've been enjoying that. And I've also been rewatching Downton Abbey to give myself like a little trip down memory lane. I really loved that show. I actually went to like the exhibit in New York. They had like a Downton Abbey, not reproduction, but basically they had a lot of the clothes from the set and like kind of recreations of different parts of the house, and it was super, super cool. I like escaping to a different time period. And Downton Abbey is such a comfort show. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep knitting today. I'll check in later on. Maybe I'll just check in at the end of the day. Hello. So it is Tuesday now, and y'all, I'm running into the same problem that I ran into last week, where I tried to get everything done as quickly as possible, but I still ended up having to knit until basically Wednesday. So same problem this week. It's been so much knitting. At this point we have like, I think 370 something, maybe a little less than that, but that many stitches. So each row takes quite a while. I timed how long it took me to do the bubble section, and it was like around 2.5 hours to knit that section. So everything's just taking a longer time than I would want, but it's to be expected with a Steve & West shawl. It is going to be pretty big, I think, just based off of how many stitches we already have. I'm eager to see which direction we're going to be going in for clue 3, because it's already quite wide. So are we going to start decreasing? Are we going to have like a special kind of bottom section? I don't know. But yeah, so I've been knitting away. I meant to film yesterday, but I just didn't really have the time. I wanted to just focus on knitting as much as possible. I was able to knit the bubble section, and then today I am knitting the brioche. So I did do an Instagram poll where I asked you guys whether I should reverse the brioche for the second brioche section, and most people voted yes. It was like 84% of people, I think, voted yes. And that's where I was going, because I really liked the back of the work. So I was tempted to switch the brioche out. Hopefully I won't regret it, because I decided to do it. I do think it looks really cool, but I'm excited to see what it looks like after I finish it and do the second bubble section. So yeah, there's a ton of knitting still to do. I mean, I'm more than halfway, so that makes me feel good. But at this point, I need to finish the brioche. I think I have around 4 more rounds, maybe less than that now, which is technically double, so 8-ish. And then I have to do the bubble section, and then I'll be finished. So I'm going to try and squeeze in as much as I can today and see where we get to. Maybe I'll watch a movie for the bubble section, since it's 2.5 hours, and then that'll kind of distract me and make me forget about time a little bit. But wish me luck. Let's see where we get off to. But so far, I'm really loving how this looks.
What the dog doing?
Hello. So it is Wednesday. It's already 8 p.m. and I'm pretty much trying to wrap up this clue 2. I am doing the last purl row for the stockinette section of the last of the bubbles. So we're almost done, almost at the finish line, but gosh, it's been such a mad rush to finish on time for tomorrow's clue. It was the same thing last week, but I finished a little bit earlier than this week. This week was a lot more challenging. I think mostly because, first of all, it was my first time doing brioche, but also we already have like 400 stitches casted on. So it's a lot of knitting. I'm pretty much just 4 rows away from finishing clue 2. So I will finish on time, which makes me very happy. But yeah, my fingers might fall off in the process. I'm really eager to get this finished, to be able to edit this video as nicely as I would like to get that released for you guys tomorrow. And speaking of, I wanted to thank you guys so much for subscribing. There's a lot of new subscribers from the last video I posted, and we reached 2K on the channel, which is really exciting. I really like to make these videos to kind of share my crafty passions with the world. I live a pretty isolated life that I'm trying to kind of figure out and work on. I don't have a lot of friends where I live because it's a new town to me. I moved here, I guess it's been a few years now, but since I work from home, it makes it really difficult to meet new people. So yeah, YouTube is like a place where I can kind of share what I'm working on and feel like I'm a part of a community. I think the knitting community is really incredible and everyone's just so supportive and kind, and for the most part, I mean, I haven't come across anyone that's rude to me or says something mean. But yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys for getting me to 2K and for following. It means a lot more than you think. We're almost done. I feel like purling takes for freaking ever. And my arms are getting a workout standing. I'm currently standing holding the baby, and then I feel like my arms like just out. But anyway, my husband's out at band practice, so I'm stuck here with the baby. So I might not be able to fully just, work on this and finish it as quickly as possible. But I will check back in when I'm finished. Like I said, it's 8 o'clock. We will see how much I get done by then. Hopefully it won't be too late. Hello, so it is already 11:20 p.m., but I finished Clue 2. Technically, I'm not quite done yet because I have one more round to do, but the last round is just knitting, so I figured let me just film this, get this out of the way, because I really got to start editing to get this video out on time. So here is the finished Clue 2. You guys, this is already so freaking big. This is the biggest shawl I've ever made. It's huge. Like, at arm's width, it's still like dragging. So this is going to be super cozy and for sure the biggest shawl I own. Clue 2 is literally the width of my entire couch. That's insane. I'll give you guys a close-up. You can see this is a very wide shawl, y'all. Whew. But yeah, I'm really glad that I got this done right in the nick of time because it is Wednesday night. So tomorrow morning we're going to have another Clue and I'm going to have to be racing all over again. I really hope that we start decreasing because now we're at 407 stitches, which is quite a bit. Each round was taking a really long time. So as a recap, last week we finished off with this last round of bubbles, and then this week we started off pretty much straight away with the brioche stitch, and then the bubbles, brioche, and then the bubbles. So really the only new thing that we did this week was the brioche, which obviously first time ever doing brioche, and final consensus is I like it. I don't hate it. I kind of understand how to fix the mistakes. I at one point started like knitting, brioche knitting instead of brioche purling, so I had to like think back. But other than that, I didn't have any major problems. I think I mentioned this already, but at some point I was missing like a yarn over from when I set up the brioche, and I had to kind of figure that out as I went. So I just ended up knitting them together, and that ended up fixing the problem. After I knit the first brioche section, I didn't like how hidden my mohair was. So the mohair was mostly being seen in the back of the work. A lot of people had the same thought I did, I think, of reversing the mohair so that it's visible in the front. And depending on what colors you have or what colors you chose, that may or may not work. So luckily for me, all of my colors are so similar and like are in the same kind of family that it ended up working out for me. I feel like if I had like very intense bright colors, it might end up making everything feel a little busier. But since my colors are so muted and so similar, I think it worked out for me. Further along in the shawl, I will definitely hold the mohair together again with my contrast color so that I can have this same effect somewhere else in the shawl. I do feel like if it's just in this brioche panel that it's gonna feel a little bit random. So I'll definitely look out for when I can hold the mohair together. Hopefully maybe tomorrow there's more mohair dare involved, or at least in week 4. But I'll see where I can kind of place that mohair to make it look better. Overall, everything went pretty well, other than desperately trying to keep up so that I can get this out on time. But I'm so happy that I finished. I did run into a problem towards the end of my last bubble section. I was missing like 4 stitches. At some point, I forgot to increase. I think that happened when I was doing the kind of small garter section right after the brioche. I forgot to increase on the right side. So I was missing 4 stitches to be able to get the final stitch count. So what I ended up doing was increasing throughout the shawl. At the center of each garter point, I ended up doing like a knit front back to make up for those 4 stitches. So that's not a big deal. You won't be able to tell at all when the shawl is finished. Again, I'm so happy with my colors. I feel like if I chose anything like hella bright, I probably wouldn't wear this because it's just, there's so much going on. I love that, but I personally like having something that's more wearable. I don't normally wear super loud colors. You could probably tell from what I wear. I wear a lot of black. I do wear some fun colors, like my pants are pretty fun, right? But I like more neutrals, more earthy, kind of gemstone colors. That's my vibe. Anyway, I did look at the Ravelry forum last week for Clue 1, and I still have to check out Clue 2 on Ravelry, but I did find some really beautiful shawls, beautiful colors that people are using. Some people are using their hand spun in their shawl, which I think is gorgeous. So yeah, it's really fun seeing everybody's colors. It's really fun being a part of like the chaos and the hype around getting this shawl made. So all in all, I'm very pleased. Am I missing anything? If you're not currently working on the Go Dynamo, during that mohair section, you do get the option of doing several things. Like you can hold the mohair together with your contrast color. You can hold the mohair on its own. You can hold the mohair double. So you do get those options, but pretty much that was the newest thing that happened this clue, since we already did the bubble stitches. And I don't know, y'all, I look at my bubble stitches and they feel like rectangles, like squares, kind of. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but I don't mind it, but it's just not bubble-like to me. I don't get why it's called bubble. I do get it, but at the same time, like, it's just not looking that way on my piece. Anyway, not a big deal. It looks great. So yeah, I better get to editing so you guys can see this tomorrow. But if you reached the end, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate you being here. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. We'll be back next week with Clue 3, so you don't want to miss that. We need to see where this is going to end up going. If you are interested in following me on Instagram, you can check me out there at Starseed Creations, where I mostly post on my stories. I don't really post on the feed much, but you can find me there. And other than that, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week for Clue 3. And yeah, happy knitting. Bye.